And joining us is Marc Schulman, a columnist for Newsweek, here to break this all down. So I think the first question everyone has is, how seriously should we be taking this? Musk has enormous reach, but he doesn't have any political experience. And historically, third parties in the U.S. have had almost no success. Does he have enough cultural power and money to actually change that?
Okay, he has the money. Cultural power is a big question. He lost a lot of his cultural power. If he hadn't gotten so deep with Trump, he would have some cultural power on the left. On the right, by walking away from Trump, he loses a great deal of it. So it's not at all clear. Like you said, third parties have been a disaster in American history. They've never really succeeded. The American electoral college system makes it very, very difficult on a national level for anyone to succeed. The biggest success in American history was actually George Wallace in the 60s, in 1968. And that's when he was able to get a number of electoral votes because he won votes only in the Deep South. And so he was able to do well in the Deep South. And no other third-party candidate, including Ross Perot, who was considered one of the big successes, actually even gotten the electoral votes, besides for George Wallace.
Right.
So on a national level, it seems hard to see how it could be successful. Now, if he wants to start running Senate campaigns and congressional districts, that could be a whole other ballgame, a very, very expensive ballgame, a ballgame that requires a lot of working on the ground. I don't see it succeeding, but it's a possibility. I think Musk has a different problem, and that's identifying where there's an interest in a third party in this particular case, because his particular brand of politics, which is basically liberal on social issues and conservative when it comes to fiscal issues. I mean, that's his big problem with the great big bill, is the deficit it's creating doesn't really have a big following in the United States. In other words, maybe the traditional Republicans were very, against strong deficits, but that's gone out the door a long time ago. And so it's not clear who the base of the party who's going to support him really is going to be. What is he going to run on? Eliminating the deficit? Well, that's a nice idea, but Ross Perot couldn't succeed with it. And again, to eliminate the deficit requires increasing taxes, frankly.
Right.
So, where's he going to go with this? Who is his natural allies? On the other hand, I would never, count Musk out. Between his money and the reach he has with X, you never know what he could do. But frankly, if I was Musk and also speaking as a citizen of the world, I would prefer that Musk go back to making better rocket ships, making better cars, and doing other things, because those things can really help mankind. Him starting a political party seems to me to be a dead end for mankind and for the United States.
All right. Well,
that's a personal opinion.
You just mentioned the big, beautiful bill, and we're going to talk about that. Stick with us. It is official. President Trump has signed his massive domestic spending package into law. He celebrated with the July 4th ceremony at the White House, complete with the B-2 bomber flyover and Republican lawmakers flanking him thumbs up as he signed what he is calling his big, beautiful bill. The White House even posted this bizarre clip on Instagram to celebrate the moment.
Are you tired of government promises falling flat? Do you go through an outrageous amount of stress just trying to get by? Then bump it up with the One Big Beautiful Bill and get that relief fast and easy. The One Big Beautiful Bill is the incredible bill that gives you peace of mind and puts money in your pocket every time. It's both big and beautiful. With no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, and more. Just look at the difference. Amazing! The One Big Beautiful Bill will benefit you everywhere, every day.
Yeah, that was real. It was on the White House Instagram page. Anyhow, okay, the $3.3 trillion law locks in Trump-era tax cuts. It slashes Medicaid and food benefits. It boosts military and border spending, and it also eliminates taxes on tips and overtime for most Americans. Now, supporters are calling this a bold vision for American prosperity. Critics say it's fiscally reckless, with the Congressional Budget Office warning it could balloon the national deficit and leave millions without health care. Well, I'd like to turn back to you right now, Marc, and get your take on this. Let's just start with the basics here. What does this bill actually do? What are the key components that people should know about?
Okay, so the key components are basically threefold. Number one, it makes the tax cuts in his first term permanent. They weren't permanent the first time around because they would have been scored as permanent in more than 10 years, and they wouldn't have been allowed because of the deficit they created. So now they've made them permanent, and the deficits will be continued to be run up because of that. Number two, there's the tips and Social Security. Those are temporary tax reliefs, so those can be repealed at any given time. And finally, there's well, actually, there's four parts. There's the cutting of spending, which is primarily in Medicaid. That spending, theoretically, the Republicans are saying it won't take anyone off Medicaid. What it does, however, is make it more difficult. In other words, you have to put all sorts of paperwork in, which according to the Congressional Budget Office, there'll be 10 million less people on Medicaid as a result of this. So people will lose the medical coverage as a result. And finally, there's a big increase in funding for ICE and a smaller but substantial increase in funding for the Defense Department, whose spending has been cut over the years. Those are the major parts of it. The biggest problem with the bill, again, is this ongoing problem of deficits.
Right.
The Republicans have believed forever in trickle-down economics, that cutting taxes will, A, spread to everybody, and B, will result in increased growth. And that just hasn't happened over the years.
All right,
so
Marc,
that's really the big problem.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut you off here. We're going out for a quick commercial break. We will be back shortly. Don't go anywhere.